This was a study which found that our expectation of reality, in fact, determines our reality to a great extent. Now, how is this related to truth? If we know telling someone the truth would cause a person to expect more pain and suffering than a lie would, then according to this study, the truth would end up causing more harm in reality than a lie would. Okay, obviously we should tell the truth most of the time, but the idea we should tell the whole truth unwaveringly, without fail, in every situation is just not true. That is, if our goal is to increase human well-being to the highest degree. Not only does no one do it, but it's just not really a good idea if you think through it realistically. The following study is one example of many I've spoken about here on the channel, illustrating the truth harms people. Not always, but often. I know, it seems almost sacrilegious to say, but it seems to be true. A lot was done in the study, but I'll boil it down a bit and cover the most important parts. Participants in the study first went through a sort of learning phase in which they were shown either image X or Y, followed by a corresponding image of a thermometer. Shape X was followed by an image of a thermometer with a low temperature reading, and shape Y was followed by an image of a thermometer with a high temperature reading. These cue shapes would be used for the next phase of the study. After this learning/observation phase in which participants associated shape X with a lower temperature and shape Y with a higher temperature, they were then shown one of the shapes and then asked to predict the level of pain they were about to experience with an upcoming heat stimulus. So the researchers had some type of heat stimulus, I would imagine like a heat rod or something, and they would do this and touch the heat rod either to their inner forearm or their lower leg. So they were shown the shape. The participants were asked how much pain they think they would feel, and then they put the heat stimulus on them, and then the participants reported how much pain they felt. After doing this to 62 participants, I know not a super large sample size, but still 62 participants, and this isn't the only study like this, but after doing this to 62 people, researchers found that pain levels reported by them corresponded directly to the shape they were shown previous to the application of the heat stimulus. So when they saw shape Y before the heat was applied, they would experience more pain than when shape X was shown to them. The most interesting part of the study, which you may have already guessed, and what the participants didn't know, is that the heat stimulus was the exact same temperature for each participant every single time, regardless of which shape was shown. This was a study which found that our expectation of reality, in fact, determines our reality to a great extent. It didn't solely rely on reports from the participants either. Robust central nervous system analysis was paired with patient reports of pain, and both were indicative of the same conclusion. Now, how is this related to truth? If we know telling someone the truth would cause a person to expect more pain and suffering than a lie would, then according to this study, the truth would end up causing more harm in reality than a lie would. Healthcare providers face this dilemma constantly and often avoid giving us the complete truth. Before undergoing a procedure or getting a shot, we often hear them talk about feeling pressure or a tickle, but they avoid telling us we'll feel pain, which is the truth. Take a look at this physician, for example. He's touching the infant in different places with a capped needle, associating it with a soft touch instead of sharp pain. Now that the baby has associated the syringe and needle with a soft touch, he will expect no pain when the injection is given, which, according to this study, will cause the infant in reality to experience less pain. I'll circle this back around to the big question, which is, if everyone learns the truth that Christianity is a myth, will this end up increasing human well-being, or will this truth end up being detrimental to us? With so many examples of the truth causing harm, I'm not convinced whatsoever that knowing this truth will be to our benefit, neither individually nor as a society or culture.